how you doing? I've always got bits of equipment going on here. Anyway, today I want to give you an exercise that is really, really actionable that you can use whenever you need to if you're anything like me. Are you impatient? Are you an impatient person? And my impatience doesn't necessarily show up when I'm in a post office queue. It doesn't make me be angry to waiting staff or anything like that. Actually, my impatience with everybody else is fine. But with myself, I am really tough on myself, and I get a bit Veruca Salt with myself. I write the goal and then I want it to happen immediately. And I know that that isn't always the case. And I guess the kind of more yogi in me is like, everything's going to happen when it's meant to happen. But inside, sometimes I'm like, but when? But when? Give me a date. Give me a date. Something I can work towards. I want to share a little story today, which is just over 21 and a half years old. I turned 42 on Thursday, and I have realised that at nearly 42, I am more than double the age that, you know, at 21, when people sort of tell you that you're an adult now, so you're going to know how to do all of the things. And there's a part of you that believes that at 21, like, yeah, okay, all right, great, I'm adulting, I'm doing this. And then still at nearly 42, I'm thinking, oh wow, there's loads that I don't know, or there's loads that I've tried, or lessons, etc. Anyway, what happened was, when I was 20, I was living in London. I had just completed my second year of drama school, and I decided that summer between my second and third year to stay in London and not go home. And previously, before that, every holiday, every opportunity, I'd worked in all kinds of different situations. My favourite / least favourite being Golden Wonder Crisp Factory, which was as pleasant as you can imagine. Anyway, don't knock it. I took the money. I did what I needed to do. It was character building, as my parents would say. Anyway, that summer between the second and third year, so 2002 it was, I stayed in London, and I decided to go and get a job in a theatre. So I had a big kind of tray selling the ice creams, I was selling the programmes, I was watching Mamma Mia, so I've seen the first half of Mamma Mia 67 times or 79 times, something like that, a lot anyway, because if you were an usher you had to sit in and watch it essentially. And so I know that show very, very well. Sometimes it kind of wakes me in my sleep still. There's certain things I can't remember at all, like car registrations, but the lyrics of ABBA, they're in there. Anyway, this was my opportunity here to experience for the first time what it would be like to be a working actor. And when I'm talking about being a working actor, it wasn't necessarily just being an actor getting paid for acting. It was working out how you were going to do the things in between. And very, very quickly, I absorbed all of this information. I watched all of these actors who had graduated. I begun to really feel out the situation. I watched how, in a non-creepy way, I watched how people took phone calls. I watched how people spoke about the industry. I observed it all, and I really felt like I was doing almost like a dissertation on this experience and pulling together all of the different parts of this and really making up my mind about certain things. And what happened then was I went into my third year in a sense with an advantage. I wasn't saying that I was more talented than anybody else, not at all. But I did have that business nous. I did have that sense of understanding the industry and understanding what I would need to do in order to make this real. And what happened then was I really hit the ground running in my third year. I got great feedback. I got an agent from my showcase because I knew the piece that was going to really work. I knew my market. I knew my castability. And I didn't actually kind of venture beyond that. I stuck with what I thought I was good at. And therefore what happened was I got an agent and then I got 2 jobs back to back. So I actually didn't finish my third year. I left 5 months early and I was off. I was off working and I was doing whatever it was. I mean, 6 months after that, of course, I was then looking for another job, but there we go. But my point today that I want to make and how this relates to you in terms of your business is that so often we can spend so much time behind the scenes studying and researching and in a way playing with imaginary things. And what I mean by this is doing a lot of work with sort of woolly pieces of information. And what we need to do is get ourselves out there. And this is what I really found in that third year, was not only was I learning, because I still was very much in that kind of training period in my third year, but I was also implementing. I was also relating it to being a working person. And so I want to ask you today, what are the switches that you need to make in order to turn up the dial, the frequency, the speed of your business? So if you think about your business goals, what is actually going to get you doing those things? And I know sometimes when we set goals, we imagine that is enough. We get the lovely notebook, we've got some great stationery, we write it down in different coloured pens and it all looks really great. But my question is always around how do we then lift all of that and do something with it? How do we begin to get things moving? Another analogy for you. You know when you play Ludo and you've got your 4 little things and all you want to do is to roll that 6 so you can get your counter out. And you want to get them going. And I know there are going to be some people who go, right, I'm going to roll 1 and then I'm going to go all the way around the board and come back to the home. Whereas my theory is if I get the opportunity to roll a 6, I'm like, right, let's get them all out. And I think certainly as a coach, I'm always questioning those goals, not only for myself, but my phrase that I say to my clients a lot is, how can we make this real, not random? And that takes lots of different things. It takes systems, it takes habits, it takes discipline, it takes spending time with your goals. But it also takes a shift of saying, I really want this. This feels like something I feel could be possible for me. And I think so often the way that we've been taught goal setting is that we write things down like, I want a Lamborghini. I don't want a Lamborghini, incidentally, but people might say that. I want a Lamborghini. I want a nice holiday. I want whatever it might. I want to live in a mansion. But maybe there is a part of us that doesn't actually believe or have a very clear idea as to what that looks and feels like. And so when you're looking at your goals for this next couple of months, maybe as we go into 2024, I want you to spend some time not only thinking, how can I make these real, not random, but how can I begin to really get them going? How can I get into flow with them? So if you are spending more and more time learning and observing and watching and analyzing and calculating and preparing, how can you make that switch into going, being, cracking on, sending the email, showing up, etc.? Now, neither of them are exclusive. I don't believe we should just be in the planning stage and not doing the other things. Likewise, if you're just showing up all of the time and you haven't got any of the systems or things aren't kind of thought through, that again can be quite difficult to manage and maneuver. And so we're looking to find this lovely balance, this lovely rhythm between the prepping and the researching and all the rest of it into, right, let's get going with this. If you've got goals, if you've got things that you want to do in your business, if you are ready, if you're ready to step up, if you're finally ready to create some momentum, if you said at the beginning of this year, yeah, this year is going to be my year, let's hear it. Let's see where you actually want to go. And already, again, if you haven't done anything with your goals this year, and we're now in the 11th month, your brain will be able to trick you into saying, well, then maybe, even though you said this year was your year, I mean, this is how my brain works, I might then at this stage be saying, well, maybe this year is not my year. So maybe I'll start it in 2024. But the thing is, you can start anytime. It doesn't matter what the calendar is saying. It does not matter. I say this all of the time. So many of my sales that I make in my business are made at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, because somebody has woken up and gone, right, it's time for action. Even though it might not be technically where they're not going to start work at that time, but they've had that emotion, they've had that connection with themselves at that time of the morning of saying, what am I doing? I keep saying that I want these things, but I'm not doing anything about that. Why is that? Okay, it's time to take action. And that can be scary sometimes. That can be scary to kind of go for it. And our comfort zone is so comfy. But I know certainly this year in certain areas of my life and business, my comfort zone wasn't that comfy anymore. In fact, it was a bit boring. It was a bit frustrating. It was a bit familiar. And I just kept coming back to who I want to be, where I want to go next, and really listening to what I know that I am capable of. And actually it was a lot more and a lot more interesting than my comfort zone. So therefore, what did I need to do to get me into that zone, moving forward, really thinking about where I go next? If you want help with this, I would love to know firstly what you want help with. Where are you stuck? The things I talk about are personal branding. It's about building a portfolio career, designing it and delivering it on your terms, from money to speaking to goals to visibility to content to all of the things. If you have a number of wishes on your list, let me know what they are. Of course, it's completely confidential. You can send a message to me via my website. Just use the button in the bottom right hand corner. It doesn't go anywhere else. It simply comes to me, and we can make some moves and come up with a plan and think about where you go next. Please don't wait until next year. Don't convince yourself that you'll wake up on January the 1st and it will all be different. It won't be, unless you decide that that is the case. Of course, I have had New Year's where I'm like, right, this is the year when we're moving house, and it has actually happened. But there are some days when I have written that long list and I put it in a drawer and I've forgotten about it as well. The date is irrelevant. It's the intention that you want to spend time with. I'm sending lots of love. My website, the link is in my bio. You can check it out, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.